It's NFL roster cut down Tuesday, and the Chiefs have already made a ton of moves. Now, we don't know the final roster right now, but we do know some players that got released and some that made the team. But if you guys are new to this channel, my name is Michael Darcy, and you're watching the KC Sports Report. Do me a big time favor and hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more daily Chiefs coverage. Now, I want to start off this video by talking about the players that got released, starting with quarterback Chris Oladokun, interior offensive lineman CJ Hansen, cornerback Melvin Smith, linebacker Cam Jones, defensive lineman Marlon Tuipulotu. We've got tight end Trey Watson, linebacker Cole Christensen, which makes a lot of sense considering the Chiefs ended up taking undrafted rookie free agent Cooper McDonald at linebacker. He ended up making the roster. But then you've got defensive tackle Coziah Izzard. I've actually never heard of him, so no surprise that he ended up getting cut. But going down this list here, I mean, there's some guys that ended up being surprising, some guys that didn't. Chu Godric, the offensive tackle, not super surprising. Now, here's the biggest surprise, I would say. Running back Carson Steele ended up getting released by the team. Now, I personally think that Carson Steele did not really have a spot on this roster. The Chiefs already have a ton of running backs. He had a fumble problem last year. The Chiefs just have better options, quite frankly. They've got Isaiah Pacheco, who's back and fully healthy. They signed Kareem Hunt. They drafted Brashard Smith. They signed Elijah Mitchell, and as of this recording, he has not been released. Kind of waiting for that. And so I just don't think that Carson Steele really fit in the picture of 2025. Now, he might end up on the practice squad, and maybe he has a chance of making the team next year, but I just didn't think that it was realistic. The Chiefs could take maybe 3 or 4 running backs and a fullback, because Carson Steele's a fullback. I know he's listed as a running back. The Chiefs use him as a fullback. So no surprise really that he did make the team or didn't make the team. But a lot of people ended up thinking that he would. I initially thought that he wouldn't, and then I kind of got sold by the preseason games that he might make the team. But I do think the Chiefs made the correct choice by releasing him. The next guy they ended up releasing is offensive tackle Asa Pole. And this is a guy that actually didn't allow pressure in the preseason. He was able to slot in, I believe, at left tackle and looked pretty good. This is a guy that I'm not sure if he ends up back on the practice squad. He's definitely a fine player, and I'd like to have him back on the practice squad, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Then you've got defensive lineman Nate Matlack. No surprise there. Cornerback Kevin Knowles. Kind of surprising to see him go to the practice squad. He was almost a candidate that might sneak onto the roster, depending on what they did with, Joshua Williams. Now, this next guy won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, and that is safety Mike Edwards. The Chiefs are releasing him, and I think that his age played a big factor in this. He didn't look very good in training camp. He didn't look good in the preseason games. And while he was a veteran that you would like to have on this team, he just wasn't the same player that he was, a couple of years ago. He went to Buffalo last year and was so bad they just got rid of him. So I do think there's a reason why he didn't end up cracking the final 53, but stay on the lookout. Maybe they'll invite him back to the practice squad. Who knows? Wide receiver Hal Presley. That one's not super surprising. He did kind of ball out, though, in that final preseason game, so good for him. You've got offensive lineman Dalton Cooper, quarterback Bailey Zappi. Zappi was playing deep into the fourth quarter in a lot of the preseason games, so no surprise there. So those are the guys that we know that have been cut as of 3:30 Central, and this is going to change. We're still waiting to hear if Elijah Mitchell got cut, and I'm sure that we'll be talking about that for a while. But initially, no one really is a bad cut. Now, I know that there's a lot of Chiefs fans that loved Carson Steele and wanted him to make this team. I just don't think that he fit, and so I'm really okay with the Chiefs releasing him, knowing that they have a better option in, Brashard Smith, who can do more for this team in terms of catching the football. So I do feel really good about where the Chiefs are at running back. Time will tell if they end up taking Elijah Mitchell. But I do want to talk more about some guys that made this team, and we'll do that right after this ad break. This video is sponsored by my wonderful friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, so no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. Huge thanks to the sponsors that have supported this channel all offseason long. Now, getting back into some of the surprise players that made the team, I was not expecting the UDFA Cooper McDonald to make the roster. I thought he looked good in training camp and in the preseason games, but I didn't really know if he was going to fit at linebacker because, they have Nick Bolton, they have Drew Tranquill, they just drafted, Jeffrey Bassa, they have Leo Chenal, and so they were pretty set at linebacker. But I think that what you saw with the Chiefs releasing Cole Christensen, it made more sense to go out there and bring in a Cooper McDonald. But, again, I think there really aren't any major surprises right now. There were some people that would have liked to see Asa Pohl make the team. Listen, the guy looked good in the preseason. A lot of guys end up looking good in the preseason and don't end up doing much in the regular season. And I just don't think that there was really much room on this roster for him. Now, that's not saying that he couldn't develop into being a nice player, but right now there's just too many guys that are ahead of him on the depth chart. In fact, I was a little surprised to see the Chiefs cutting it quits with, C.J. Hansen. They drafted C.J. Hansen last year. I think it was last year. And they're already done with him. So I think that, again, one of the themes of this offseason has been that Brett Veach is not really scared to move off of a player that maybe they drafted. And that's a good thing because it truly means that you're going to get the best available players. But I do want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. What do you think of these initial cuts? Are you sad about Carson Steele getting cut? Are you happy about it, knowing that it frees up a roster spot? What do you think about guys like Mike Edwards and Kevin Knowles getting cut? I think that the biggest cuts probably have to be Mike Edwards, Carson Steele. I personally would put guys like C.J. Hansen on that list because I really thought that they would make the team just as depth. And so it is very interesting to see what decisions the Chiefs are starting to make, and I'm going to be watching to see what they're going to do at tight end, at wide receiver. We already know that Tyquan Thornton made the team, but guys like Nico Remigio and they had Elijah Mitchell both at practice because they spoke to the media and then practiced and then cut people. So we're going to find out very quickly what they're going to do there. But that's all I've got for this quick little update. Stay tuned for more. This is the second video of the day. We might have another one coming out later, so stay tuned for that. But guys, hit that like button, subscribe for more Daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.